Tonight, shoppers face tough choices for the holidays. How Canadians say they're cutting back.
Groceries are way more expensive. It makes hosting and having parties a lot harder.
And the one big exception, where people are choosing to spend during this festive time of year. Students stuck in Gaza.
I feel so disappointed and anxious because I can't sleep even at night. All my future and depends on this moment.
Why Palestinians accepted to post-grad studies in Canada are pleading for help. Plus, hockey, horses, and healing.
There's an accountability and a commitment from me to them.
The former NHLer on patience and purpose, with his horses at the heart of the story.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. The holiday rush is in full swing, with Canadians frantic to finish up their shopping. Though this festive season, many are choosing to spend less. As CTV's Colton Prale reports, families are looking for savings just about everywhere, with one big exception.
It's the season of giving.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas!
But some Canadians find themselves giving
less. And you can do it if you're good at knowing what the prices are.
A new survey from TD Bank found more than a third of Canadians are cutting back on holiday spending, up from last year.
Me and my partner decided actually not to exchange gifts between the two of us this year. It's so expensive.
It's not just presents under the tree that are getting trimmed. According to TD, of those planning to save this holiday season, nearly half are cutting back on social spending.
Especially with groceries are way more expensive, so it makes hosting and having parties a lot harder.
But even as holiday budgets decrease, 46% of people are actually spending more money on Canadian products, according to Business Development Canada. At this Ottawa artisan shop, that's leading to a boom in new customers.
When folks can check all the boxes and they're not draining their bank account or taking out loans just to support the Canadian economy, then it's a win-win.
Still, according to TD, over 3/4 of Canadians admit they're vulnerable to overspending on the holidays, feeling the pressure to create memories or spend extra to give meaningful gifts.
It is something we're willing to pay for because we really want to support Canadian producers and makers of products.
According to a report from Business Development Canada, if families spent an additional $100 of their expected holiday shopping on Canadian products like this one, the benefit to the national economy could be as much as $2 billion. Heather.
Thanks, Colton. CTV's Colton Prale in Ottawa. Canada will be shopping for a new trade deal with the U.S. and Mexico in the new year, and Washington has already set its sights on Canada's dairy industry. CTV's Jeremy Sharon on what has farmers worried about their future.
Does this 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
For more than half a century,
I've been doing this, well, my whole life, but I took over from my dad in 1992.
Dairy farmers like Peter Reuter have been protected.
When you drive by my farm, know that behind the door there's a farmer like me producing the milk to their standards that they want, healthy, pure, and local.
Canada's supply management system means the industry and its producers are afforded certain safeguards. Quotas and minimum price guarantees ensure stability and predictability. Supply management also protects the domestic market, limiting import access.
It's not competing against the American producer, it's competing against American subsidies.
But in dairy farms like this one across the country, there is a sense of uncertainty, concern over what CUSMA renegotiations in 2026 could mean for the system that local producers have long been accustomed to.
There comes an end point where it's not worthwhile to, give up that much market share. So we can't give up more.
This week, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer told Congress the dairy industry would be a priority in upcoming trade negotiations. Under the current agreement, the U.S. gets tariff-free access to about 3.5% of Canada's dairy industry. They're pushing to expand that. Prime Minister Mark Carney has repeatedly said supply management will never be on the table in negotiations, a position he stood by when asked Friday.
not on the table. We'll continue to protect supply management.
In a statement to CTV News, the president of the Dairy Farmers of Canada says they expect this commitment to be honored as the CUSMA review process continues. But here on the farm, the threat is hard to ignore.
If anything were to happen, it'd be vitally impossible for me to continue.
A harsh reality Rooter and the dairy industry as a whole hope they won't have to face.
Compared to the U.S. farms, I'm miniature.
Jeremy Sherrill, CTV News, Ottawa.
More than 100 students in Gaza are hoping to attend school in Canada next year. Dozens of universities here have accepted Palestinians for their master's and doctorate programs, but escaping the war-torn enclave poses the biggest hurdle. Kamal Karmali on the uphill battle they're facing.
And I'm standing now in front of the remains of my home and my memories.
This pile of rubble is all that remains of Shima Arafa's home in Gaza. But instead of living here, she's supposed to be here, at the University of Alberta, after getting accepted to its Masters of Science program.
I can't describe my happiness at this moment. It's my glimmer of hope for me to continue my higher education.
But that glimmer darkened when she found out she couldn't get the paperwork done to get her visa, specifically the fingerprints and photo, because there's nowhere in Gaza to get that processed.
I feel so disappointed and anxious because all my future depends on this moment.
Rahman Razek also got accepted to the same school and has run into the same problem.
I want to complete my studies to help my community. We fully intend to return to Gaza after completing our education to rebuild our city again.
Good morning. Advocacy groups held a press conference earlier this month. They say there's roughly 130 students accepted to Canadian schools, all of them trapped in Gaza.
Already, 2 students have been killed, and over 20 injured, and several have lost their admissions.
There are also stories like Abdullah Hassan's, who was able to get out of Gaza and completed all of his visa requirements, but still hasn't received a study permit to begin his PhD program in Toronto.
We feel like there is some discriminated against Palestinians.
Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada told CTV News all prospective international students must meet the requirements of Canada's immigration system. But advocates say they need to make some exceptions.
It reflects on a deep-seated cultural bias within our institutions and within the government.
Some European countries have been able to successfully evacuate students from Gaza by making exemptions on the requirements needed to obtain student visas. Heather.
Kamal, thank you. An Alberta panel aimed at exploring ways to enhance the province's autonomy is offering up a number of recommendations with national implications. CTV's Kathy Lee on the surveys conducted and the response from Albertans.
Throughout the summer and fall, the Alberta Next panel, chaired by Premier Danielle Smith, pulled into 10 different communities, hosting discussions around major subjects like pension and policing.
Do you believe Alberta should pull out from the Canadian pension plan?
Absolutely not. No.
What about having our own police force?
Absolutely not.
Online survey results indicate the majority of Albertans agree with these sentiments, yet both these issues listed as part of 7 recommendations for change in the panel's final report, released just days before the Christmas holidays. The province saying all of them aim to enhance Alberta's sovereignty within a united Canada.
It's striking to me that a government that says it's about listening to the people, they clearly are not listening to the voters on at least 2 of these issues.
On her weekend radio show, Smith defended the timing of the report's release.
They don't want to bury it. I mean, I think the debate has happened.
The opposition quick to criticize the recommendations.
The government spent millions of dollars on this fake consultation, at which they tried to silence and, in fact, spank critics.
The report's other recommendations include opting out of some federal programs without losing the associated funding and more provincial control over immigration. But this Albertan would rather the focus of the UCP government be on other important matters.
They're not listening to us at all. Education, healthcare are the top 2 for sure.
The Premier says the UCP caucus and cabinet will take a look at the recommendations and decide which ones will proceed on and which ones might go to a referendum of the people. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
One of the 5 former Canadian junior hockey players acquitted of sexual assault made his return to the ice in Canada tonight.
Carter Hart, a nearly 2-year layoff coming to an end at the beginning of this month.
Carter Hart is the lone player among the 5 who went to trial to sign with an NHL team following the acquittal. Tonight's face-off with Edmonton marks his professional return to his home province. The College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants is investigating more than 1,300 cases of potential immigration fraud and negligence in 2025. CTV's Judy Trin shows us why, for the victims, financial help from the regulatory body is unlikely.
I don't want to go back to Brazil because I have my life here.
The Mira family faces deportation after the couple and their eldest daughter lost their temporary work permits. They previously told CTV News their licensed immigration consultant ghosted them. The consultant, Ana Raquel Aparicio Perdomo, failed to submit required documents and fees. The Miras are out $3,000 and have no immigration status, a situation that could have been avoided.
If these applications were filed in time with the correct information and with everything that was required for this specific type of application of work permit that they were aiming, it would be likely that those applications would have been approved.
At least 3 families have been ghosted by Perdomo. The College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants revoked her license in June, but there are others under scrutiny. The regulatory body is currently investigating 1,375 complaints of questionable professional conduct. Between July 2024 and June 30th of this year, the college suspended 7 licenses and banned 8 consultants from practicing. Critics say the college should do more to help victims.
There's some money put aside that could be used for this family who fall into the exact purpose of what this compensation fund is, and the college aren't doing that.
The college does have $10 million in reserve funds after the federal government drafted regulations in 2024. The college says the regulations have not yet been finalized by the government and are not in effect.
I don't think they view their job as protecting the public. They view their job as regulating the profession.
Perdomo says she had to leave the country because of a medical issue and that she's been in touch with the college to see how she can help fix the situation. The college says across Canada, about 125 problematic consultants are responsible for roughly 70% of the complaints. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
A manhunt is underway in South Africa after a deadly shooting rampage near Johannesburg. 7 men and 2 women were killed when close to a dozen gunmen drove up to a tavern and began shooting. 10 other victims were injured. It's the second mass shooting in South Africa in 3 weeks. In Australia, more than 10,000 mourners gathered at Bondi Beach as part of a national day of reflection to honor the victims of last week's attack at a Jewish festival. Flags were lowered and a minute of silence was held to remember the 15 people who lost their lives. And the image of a candle was projected onto the Sydney Opera House. Ceremonies happening all across the Northern Hemisphere today to mark the winter solstice. Revelers gathered in a Toronto neighborhood to mark the shortest day of the year north of the equator, as well as the official beginning of winter. Coming up, from hockey to horses.
It's an amazing thing that I get to do and be part of.
How an ex-NHLer is using his passion off the ice to help others. A retired NHLer has been given the green light to bring his horse-drawn carriage business to Saskatoon. As Allison Bamford explains, it's part of a greater passion the hockey player has leaned on in tough times.
Pretty hungry. Extra bales for the horses on days when it's extra cold.
That's a little chilly, hey?
Rich Pilon spends hours caring for his animals, feeding, grooming, and training.
Right now with the young horses, it's getting them to pull their own weight.
Pilon played 15 years in the NHL, almost entirely for the New York Islanders, retiring in 2001.
Yeah.
Now he runs his own horse-drawn carriage business.
That was kind of our hobby and pastime, was horses. So I've grown up around the horses pretty much since I've been a little guy.
For 2 years, he's cut through red tape trying to get a business license in Saskatoon. This week, he was finally approved for a temporary permit.
It's an amazing thing that I get to do and be part of. As much as I'm getting paid to be there, it's still amazing to see that these people are having such a good time.
More than that, Pilon says this is how he heals.
Here you go.
Finding purpose in the routine.
There's an accountability and a commitment from me to them that if I'm not there to feed them, then they don't eat.
Pilon is open about his struggles with mental health, addictions, and attempted suicide. 4 years ago, he formed Horses and Hockey Let's Talk to support youth in northern Saskatchewan. These horses have traveled across the province, helping Pilon promote his mental health initiatives. Kids can learn about his story, play hockey, and interact with the animals.
It's to basically give them a break from their real life and hopefully, like I said, fill their cup with joy. They get to have some fun.
A gift these horses give Pilon every day that he hopes to pass forward. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead, Team Canada. How a trade war changed political relations in this country in 2025. Many in our country united this year to stand up for Canada. That includes the premiers of each province and territory together on the front line of the trade fight. But as CTV's Andrew Johnson shows us, old interprovincial rivalries were also renewed.
In a year that started out looking like this.
I think Canada is going to be a very serious contender to be our 51st state.
We're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada.
Canada's premiers, the faces of each province, became a focal point of resistance against Donald Trump's trade threats.
As Canadians, we need to realize that he is not joking.
Each standing up to defend their provincial and territorial economic engines on behalf of Team Canada. An early move, all but two, opting to remove U.S. liquor from store shelves. Manitoba's Wab Kinew took a page right out of the American president's playbook.
It's a wonderful order. It's a beautiful order. This order is pulling American booze off the liquor mart shelves.
At the White House in February, the premiers met with members of the Trump administration, presenting a united front.
The worst thing we could do as a country is not show up.
For Ontario's Doug Ford, showing up meant going on the offensive, threatening to punish America by any means possible, including restricting power sales.
If the United States escalates, I will not hesitate to shut the electricity off completely.
Ford even urged Alberta to put an export tax on oil.
Their gas prices go up $90 to $1 a gallon. They will lose their minds.
That did not sit well with Premier Danielle Smith, who called the idea absurd and self-destructive.
You can ask me as much as you like, the answer is no.
The Team Canada narrative was also interrupted in May, when supporters of Alberta separation celebrated a Smith government bill that would make it easier for voters to force a referendum. Smith said she didn't support separation, but also wouldn't stand in the way.
I will respect the outcome of citizen-initiated referenda, and that's why it's my job to make sure it doesn't get to that point.
I want to welcome everyone.
By summer, 6 months into the trade war, premiers and territorial leaders were in Ontario cottage country, talking trade, tariffs, and teamwork.
Right now, our economy in all Canada suffers because of the uncertainty.
Another goal of the three-day summit was to make it easier to move goods between provinces at a time when many discovered buying Canadian could be difficult.
I can't say how many times I've heard it's easier for me to access Alabama than Alberta.
In late September, Trump again turned up the heat, announcing new tariffs. Ontario's response got under the president's skin.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign...
A $75 million ad campaign airing on major American networks starring former President Ronald Reagan.
Over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer.
Trump called the ad fake and promptly ended Canadian trade talks.
They did a crooked ad. They know it was Ronald Reagan loved tariffs.
Ontario ended up pulling the campaign early, but the man who authorized it was downright Trump-like in declaring its success.
It was the most successful ad in the history of North America.
It was around this time cracks in the Premier's Team Canada collective widened out west over Alberta's pitch for a new pipeline to send bitumen to BC's northwest coast. Despite a hard no from BC's David Eby, Danielle Smith pushed to have the proposal added to Mark Carney's major projects list.
Premier Eby's comments are un-Canadian and they're unconstitutional. All it takes is the Prime Minister to say yes.
It's not the Danielle Smith show, it's the Canadian team. And we all deserve the same opportunity for the same federal funding.
Smith got what she wanted, a memorandum of understanding signed by the PM.
I think it's going to unleash an incredible amount of investment.
As 2025 comes to a close, with Canada and the U.S. still deadlocked on a trade deal, we can expect a continued focus going forward on the premiers, advocating for their provinces and territories, and trying to get along. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Still ahead tonight, why secondhand has become the first choice for gifts this season. We leave you tonight with a shopping term quite popular this year, Thriftmas. Instead of purchasing new, fully priced items, some are opting for secondhand gifts. CTV's Sarah Plowman takes us to the thrift shop.
The aisles map the route. Shelves hold the treasure. Thrift stores are full of finds, and Paige Morgan is out to discover them for Christmas.
It's better for the environment and in my pocket. I have a very small pocket.
We have a lot of...
As higher costs drag bank accounts down, thrifters have more company. Home care worker Kathy DeLong helps seniors, and today is helping those who are shut in shop for Christmas.
Everybody's on a fixed income, and especially seniors. They got to watch their money very carefully.
Thrift stores have noticed a lot of traffic this season.
We sold a lot of toys. A lot of families that are coming in that can't seem to afford the full cost of a lot of the stuff, but still want to give the kids things.
Same down the road, where shoppers scoop up furniture or decorations.
It's those, a lot of times it's those unique gift ideas as, oh, I'm looking for something really interesting for a family member. And
this Fredericton consignment store has also noticed a bump in sales.
I think people have caught on that you can stretch your budget further and not sacrifice quality or the styles you want.
Beyond the discount, store owners highlight other perks.
You're not having to, get into the commercialism and you're repurposing valuable things, people that have loved in the past, and they're getting passed on so someone else can love them just as much.
Another reason for this mom to buy her kids' toys here.
Some toys he gets that are for gifts, I'll find them in the thrift store, like for $5, and it's just better to get them here instead of them going to the landfill.
Swapping Christmas for Thriftmas. One find at a time. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Love a good thrift store find. That is our newscast. I'm Heather Butts for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Marcia McMillan will be here tomorrow, and I will see you again on Christmas Day. Until then, happy holidays. Good night.